On the brink of Mother's Day weekend, let's talk about parenting, being a mom, Roe v. Wade, and how the conversation has shifted once again here in American politics. This is The Right Therapist, a division of the conservative take, and I am Nicole Kaufman, licensed clinical mental health counselor, coming at you today. So let's get right to it. What a week in American politics, y'all. Roe v. Wade overturned for the first time for the only time, right, over the last 50 years, and the left is losing their minds. What I find remarkable about this is that, well, let's just face it, it seems like Americans on the whole are a little slow on the uptake here, because if folks really understood what was going on, there would not be this shrieking of outrage by our left, our friends over on the left, let's say. Elizabeth Warren would not be so mad. And I'm going to pull a Jen Psaki and circle back around to her a little bit, because like most politicians, Miss Elizabeth Warren talks out of her mouth quite a bit. And it's really remarkable to see how she has really reversed her position on what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mother and a parent. But let's just put a pin in that for a minute. I'm going to get back to it. So where we are with Roe v. Wade is basically that the Supreme Court has kicked this decision back to the states, meaning red states are going to get redder in terms of their abortion laws. Blue states are going to become bluer. In fact, Disneyland and killing babies is what it appears to be that California is going to be all about. Of course, New York, I guess they're going to, these two states in particular, they're going to pass abortion laws that you can have an abortion, I guess, all the way up until the kid is 17 and has a driver's license. But they will become essentially what is being called abortion tourism states. So with that in mind, what we're really facing and what the American public, I think, has to understand is that the Supreme Court has just made this issue a states' rights issue or a states issue. So again, blue states are going to get bluer as far as being more liberal with their abortion policies. The red states are going to become redder and more conservative. For instance, Florida, I believe Mississippi is on the docket for that. Don't quote me directly, but that's what's springing to my addled mind this morning on a Friday. And so the purple states, they're going to be somewhere in between. So it basically means if you live in one of these states and happen to find yourself with an unwanted pregnancy, then you either have to cross state lines, hop a plane, or what have you. And I think it's just taking people a minute to really understand what this means. It doesn't mean that abortion is going to be banned across the board. And at the same time, I do believe that the Democrats, they want to make you think this is the end of democracy as we know it, because these rights are being taken away. And that's actually what the Supreme Court said, is that abortion is not a right. And what we're going to do is just make it a states' rights issue to define what that law is per the state. And it just takes folks a minute to really digest this and understand what it means. And what I don't understand is now what all the political outrage is. But make no mistake, it is political, because y'all, November is coming, and it's coming, and the red wave is going to hit. You see my shirt here? It says "Proud to be the elephant in the room." Yes, I do think November is going to be interesting. But what the Democrats are doing is trying to make this a political issue to try and mobilize their base to get out and vote. And this is really the only issue that really mobilizes the Democrat movement, because let's face it, Democrats can't run on, immigration. They can't run on the economy. We just saw a half-point interest rate hike this week. They can't run on COVID, really, because that issue is now kind of dead. Our schools, now we've mobilized, thanks to Glenn Youngkin and the jump off that was the Virginia governor's race, that has mobilized school moms and school parents to really keep an eye on what's going on in their students' classrooms. So we have more of a base there that education is now an issue that is breaking against the Democrats, whereas actually before, nobody really cared. There wasn't a whole lot of awareness there, but boy, are we aware now. So that issue is not polling well for Democrats. So what issue do they really have? And it appears that they're trying to make this issue the issue to mobilize the base, when in fact, polls are polls. And right now, the polls are, I believe, last I heard, 63% of folks polled, according to a Fox News poll. The 63% said they wanted to keep Roe in place. But I don't think people have yet really digested the idea that it's going to become a states' rights issue. So you do elect those officials for determining what the law is in the state in which you live. And all of these stories about how folks are going to not have access to services, how folks we're going back to, and they're using the scare tactics, the back alley abortion, the coat hanger is now being brought back out as a grisly feature of this controversial issue, that it signifies a barbarianism of this issue. And honestly, I think it's needless, and I think it's done in a really deft way to try to mobilize the base to get people out. So of particular interest to me, and again, I just think it's planned. I think that I don't think there's any accident that this Roe v. Wade opinion briefing was leaked. And the reason that I say that, and my amusement, because I have to laugh now, folks. Honestly, I'm just a little confused. I'm confused. Maybe you can help me. Sometimes I guess I overthink things, or I listen too closely, or maybe having gone back to school so many times, maybe I don't know. Maybe I just can't put it all together, and I'm not following. So riddle me this. So the left tells us that trans dads tell doctors you can be a man and have a baby. So the thinking is that if you're on hormone blockers, if you take those hormone blockers inconsistently, you can still get pregnant. Okay, but you're a man because you're trans. Help me understand this. Maybe you can get pregnant, and I'm just guessing here, because you have a uterus. Maybe that's why you can get pregnant. I'm not sure, though. I'm really not sure, because men can be women and women can be men, according to the left. And so we're supposed to affirm that. So now with Roe v. Wade coming out and this opinion coming out, biological absolutism is back, baby. Now we're talking about pregnant women. Now women can get pregnant. And all of a sudden, women are women. Women are women again, y'all. Effective this week, right before Mother's Day. Now, I wonder if we're going to use a different word for mother. What other word could we use? Because mother would indicate that you actually had a child or you were a mother figure. So what does being a woman mean? What does being a mother mean? I am beyond confused. But this week is the week that we're supposed to say, okay, women are being gone after. Women are having their rights taken away. This said by the same people who are telling me that I have to be okay with it if we have non-gendered bathrooms. These people are telling me now that Roe v. Wade, if we take away a woman's right to abortion, that's bad. But at the same time, I have to be okay with the idea of a dude walking in my bathroom wearing a dress. I have to be okay with that. Or that women or that men, trans men can be put in jail in women's prisons, that those women there, they're not having their rights taken away. I'm confused. And when I'm confused, who do I seek out for some clarity on this issue? Well, none other than the esteemed Elizabeth Warren. So I got to go down this rabbit hole, y'all, because this week, while she was shrieking and her voice was all shaky about Roe v. Wade because she's angry, and she's angry that this happened. And she says that we've heard enough from the extremists and we're tired of it.
Off the land. They just need to do it.
I've never seen you so angry. You seem to be...
This is what the Republicans have been working toward this day for decades. They have been out there plotting, carefully cultivating these Supreme Court justices so they could have a majority on the bench who would accomplish something that the majority of Americans do not want. We have a right. Extremists, we've heard enough from the extremists, and we're tired of it.
The extremists. So Republicans are the extremists now? We're the extremists because we don't think it's cool to or don't think it's permissible to allow abortion up until the day of birth by the mother. We're the extremists. And so this whole flip-flopping thing, this to me, it's feigned outrage. Let's go in the Wayback Machine for just a minute, shall we? So when Elizabeth Warren was a Harvard professor in 2003, she published a book written with her daughter, and here was the title of the book. Now, full transparency, I haven't read the book, but it is called The Two Income Trap: Why Middle-Class Mothers and Fathers Are Going Broke. And she talks about in this book how because of the cost of goods and necessities, as well as the increased cost of childcare, that it is necessary for men and women to work out of the home, which actually results in not a net gain in household income because of the childcare costs, because of the cost of women going to work, et cetera. She goes headlong into it. And here is a quote from her book in 2003. So she says, many view parenthood as nothing more than another lifestyle choice, not so different from joining a commune or developing a passion for windsurfing. But it isn't true for society at large. What happens to a nation that rewards the childless and penalizes the parents? If middle-class women and men stop making that parental lifestyle choice, who will care for them in their old age? Who will pay taxes, build infrastructure, and keep the economy afloat? And most important, who will populate the great middle class of America's future? Man, if I didn't know who that was, end quote, sorry, if I didn't know who was actually saying that, I would think that was, I don't know, maybe a pro-child position, maybe a pro-life position, maybe we actually need children to be born in this country because right now, half of all 30-year-olds are childless in this country. We're getting ready to have a population dip, much like China, much like other nations, that they're having a dip in their child population or in their childbirth rates. So they're really asking the fundamental question: who is going to take care of us moving forward? Who is going to populate the earth if we don't start having more babies. But now, wait, it's 2022 now, and Elizabeth Warren is angry. She's wearing her pink coat, and she is just angry about this. So I don't know, y'all. I'm confused. I mean, last week, men could be women, and women could be men, and women who menstruated were referred to as bleeders, and pregnant people, we're still floating that term, pregnant people, because people can get pregnant, not women. And I'm just not, I guess I'm just confused. All this advanced education, I'm so confused. So I don't know what the answer is to this. I'm laughing because I think the answer is that this is political theater. And I would invite you to use your mental health skill of discernment and being able to see through all of the kabuki theater and all of the feigned outrage that is coming from the left. And vote with your feet, people. I keep saying it again and again. If you want to go and live in a state that is really progressive and really pro-abortion, last I checked, there are no borders between the states. You can go, you can move, and just set up shop in these new states because they think progressively the way that you think. No problem. Now, who has an issue against that? I don't. And so go for it. But at the same time, really do your homework, people. Understand, read the opinion, understand what this law means, and that there is a reason that the Supreme Court is the judicial branch. It is separate. It is separate from the other branches. And this was done by design. This was done for a reason. And it is so that it would not be influenced by politics and by society. It is a separate branch. And why have we lost sight of this? Why are we insisting that that should not be the case? Again, my feeble mind, I'm confusing the issue altogether. But all that to say, I'm going to switch topics just a little bit and do a follow-up real briefly of a story that I did before, a story that got quite a few views. I was actually quite shocked how many views it got. So if you didn't watch that episode, it was my episode on loneliness, and it highlighted, or really we looked at in that episode, the suicide rate among teens and young people, how that skyrocketed post-COVID. And the name of the episode was The Signs of Loneliness. I'll leave a link to it in the show notes here, so you can take a closer look at it. But apparently Cheslie Kryst's mother, that's who I featured in that particular episode on loneliness. Cheslie Kryst was, as you remember, the Miss America young lady, lovely, beautiful, talented, smart woman who unfortunately took her life. And we learned fairly recently that she sent a text to her mother just really hours before she took her own life. And this text, you guys, was absolutely heartbreaking. And I want to read this to you. I know that Mother's Day is coming up, and it affects everybody in really profound ways. And hearing this text here by someone who is so troubled, I really feel like it's worth reading it. It's in its entirety out loud, just to honor Cheslie Kryst's mom and what all people really who deal with a suicidal person in their life have to deal with. And this also highlights the state of mind for folks who are suicidal. So I'm going to go ahead and read this in its entirety, just because I feel like it needs to be done. Okay. She says, "I love you, Mom, and you're my best friend and the person I've lived for years. I wish I could stay with you, but I cannot bear the crushing weight of persistent sadness, hopelessness, and loneliness any longer. I've never told you these feelings because I've never wanted you to worry, and because I hope they would eventually change, but I know they never will. They follow me through every accomplishment, success, family gathering, friendly dinner. I cry almost every day now, like I'm in mourning. I wished for death for years, and I know you would want to know and would want to help, but I haven't wanted to share this weight with anyone. Regardless of that, thank you sincerely for being there for me in some of my loneliness moments without me even telling you I needed you. You have kept me alive and ready to face another day because you answer every phone call and you are there for me at the drop of a hat. You listen to me and care when I tell you what goes on in my life, and you've always made me feel like you loved me. I love you more than any person I've ever known. You've done nothing wrong. You've done everything right. I no longer feel like I have any purpose in my life. I don't know if I ever really did. I've pushed away most of my friends and I can't fix any of it, no matter how hard I've tried. So I will leave and rejoin God in heaven and hope to find peace there. I don't want to leave, but I genuinely feel like I have to if I want to escape my loneliness that feels like it has no end. I fought against depression for a long time, but it's won this time around. There aren't enough words in the world to describe my love and appreciation for you. You are the perfect mom, and I will love you forever, even in death. Feel free to share this message. People should know that you are the best mom in the world and that you were the best mom to me I could have ever hoped for. So if that doesn't pull to focus, right, the importance of being a mom, of being a parent, of what being a woman is, and I hope that somehow the left can get a hold of this and put all of this together and understand that being a mom is one of the most important things that you can ever do in your life, and that children need their moms. And this mom, this Mother's Day, does not have her baby to dote on, to cherish. And my heart goes out to her. And as we look at this Roe v. Wade thing and we gnash our teeth and we shriek at the injustice of it all, can we put it together about what being a mom is as a nation, as a society, and socially? How about trying that and see what your heart tells you? All right, that's it for me. For the right therapist, have yourself a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. All the moms in your life and the mom figures of your life, honor them, celebrate them, call them. Or if you're not in a place to honor them and celebrate them, maybe there's a disconnect. Maybe you can't go there with them right now. You can visualize them being happy and peaceful and sending good vibes their way, because I really think that they'll feel it if your intention is to send it with love. That's it for me. Thanks for tuning in. Look at some of our other episodes and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.